Welcome everyone, Farmer Cop here. This is going to be a video that just goes over everything you need to know and everything that we know about tornadoes or twisters in Farming Simulator 25. So if you haven't pre-ordered the game, first off, do that now. If you want to pre-order the PC version of the game, use code FarmerCop at checkout or use one of the links down below in the description. It does go to help support the channel, and if you do pre-order it, you do get the Macdon bonus pack, which if you don't pre-order it, you will not have the ability to swath in the base game right off the bat. Obviously, the feature will be open to modders, so people can mod different swathers and things like that, but you have to wait until that happens before you can actually use the swathing feature. So make sure you guys pre-order it, otherwise you'll have to pay extra for the Macdon pack at release. But anyhow, yes, let's go ahead and move into talking about tornadoes or twisters. Now, speaking of that, the names are interchangeable in terms of the game. They're not anything technical about them or anything like that. They're always going to be the same size. They're not going to be different sizes. They may take different routes across the map, obviously, if they are there, but they're going to be different size, or they're not going to be different sizes or different every year in terms of how big they are. So calling them twisters or tornadoes, both are interchangeable in terms of the game. How often will they happen? At least down Riverbend Springs, the American map, they will happen probably once a year, but they may not happen every single year. So just be aware of that. And we're not sure yet. They may or may not be aware, or they may or may not be on other base game maps per se. But my guess is it will be something that a modder, if they can put it into the game, will put it into their map if they want to have it on there. So it won't be on every map, but if the modder or map maker wants it to be on their map, they should be able to allow it as one of the weather functions that happens on that map. So but anyhow, yes, you can turn them on and off. We are not sure if you turn them on or off, and this is talking with some giant software employees. They're not the ones that programmed the game or anything like that, but you may still visually see them when the tornadoes are turned off, so just be aware of that. Turning them off in the settings may not take away their visuals, but it will take away any damage or any effects that they have on things, which we'll talk about that here in a second. So if you turn them off, they still may actually visually be there. They just won't be doing anything as they go across the map. But yeah, so that's that. What do they actually do? Well, they can damage crops. So in a wide swath around the path of the tornado, there's a random destruction feature that will randomly take off some of the different pieces of the crops wherever they may go. And what you're seeing on your screen as well right now, I'm going to be playing various video clips from either me or DJ from when we went to PAX West to play the game early, courtesy of Giant Software. So we appreciate that. But yeah, so that's where this video is coming from. So you're going to see some new video that you probably haven't seen before unless you've watched, well, I released a video a couple days ago with some exclusive gameplay, and that is all in there as well. But anyhow, yeah, they'll destroy crops of all stages of growth. It doesn't matter if they're ready to harvest or not. It doesn't matter if they're susceptible to crop destruction or not, because if you have crop destruction turned on, obviously only crops that are in like the later stages of growth will actually get damaged by tires as they grow over them, or roll over them, I should say. If you don't know how crop destruction works, that's how it's worked in the past, and that should be how it works in base game Farming Simulator 25. So yeah, it's random damage, and it'll even like destroy like stubble or stuff on the field. So if you have stubble on a field, it'll even randomly destroy some of the stubble. So it's pretty cool. It does a lot of damage. The one thing I will say as well is it does destroy grass as well. It'll reset grass to the first growth state if it destroys the grass, if it's ready to harvest, or if the grass has started growing, it'll reset it to the first growth state, so it has to regrow up. It won't remove it, so you don't have to have the frustration of replanting grass every time a tornado goes through your grass field, but it does definitely do some damage to it. The one thing I did notice as well is it doesn't do any damage to like field grass or like meadow grass. I guess not field grass. It doesn't do any damage to meadow grass. So the grass that's just on the map in between fields and here and there, it doesn't do any damage to that. And in the past, we've always been able to mow that and use that for silage or whatever we wanted to do. So it doesn't seem to damage that at all. So just be aware of that. It'll also damage bales. So bales, if they are not under cover in a shed, will lose some of their fill volume. If you are already partially used bale, the bale might disappear if it loses too much of its fill volume. And we haven't had an example of what this looks like yet in game. This is just the information that we have in terms of that. And that should be how it's going to work, where they're going to actually lose their fill volume. You're not going to see bales go flying across the map or anything like that in the tornado. That's just not going to be part of what happens. Another thing that the tornado will do is it will damage trees. All kinds of trees, not just the forestry-friendly ones, as I like to say. It'll damage even the weird ones too. However, when it does damage them, There's no animation. They just kind of snap and go into their next state, which is like a tree that's kind of split in half, as you guys have seen before, and I'm sure I'm showing it on the screen right now. So they will just go to that state there. In terms of damaging buildings, right now we do not know. It has been said that it is possible. It wouldn't be like map buildings and stuff that's built into a map, and it would likely only be the buildings like that are placeable that could get damaged, and even more so than that, it'll probably be only the ones that you actually build. So there'll be construction projects in Farming Simulator 25 where you bring building materials to a shed or a house or something, and you can build it up from there. Those things will be damageable possibly by tornadoes. We can't guarantee it yet, but that would be much more likely to happen than anything else being damaged by it. And likely you just need to bring more materials to it to fix it, and get it fixed up again. So that could be something that could happen. There's no effect on pallets either, as far as we know. There's no effect on pallets getting damaged or anything like that. I think that would be cool if they lost some of their fill type if they got hit with a tornado, kind of similar to the bales did, but I'm not sure if that's going to be a feature or not. There's been no one that's talked about it yet. So they will not damage you or your machines, and what I mean by that is if you drive your tractor right into the middle of the tornado, nothing's going to happen. It's not going to throw your tractor. It's not going to cause any damage to it. It's just not. That's not the purpose of this game specifically, so you're not going to see any result from that. So don't be driving your equipment in there and hope something's going to happen. I know some people are going to say, well, that's unrealistic. Well, yeah, of course that's unrealistic. The point of the weather function in the game is not to throw your tractors around the map. It's to damage your crops and have another kind of obstacle in terms of that sort of the farming aspect. And I know, yes, it would damage your tractor if you drove it in there and were stupid about it in real life, but that's just not the purpose of why they put the tornadoes in there. So I think it's really cool that we're getting tornadoes because it shows that they're starting to have more stuff affect the actual crops in terms of the weather, because we're also getting hail, which is going to damage crops if there's a big hailstorm. So that'll happen as well. And obviously you'll be fine if you go in the tornado. You're not going to get thrown around the map or anything like that either. And yeah, so just be aware of that. Finally, just some other pieces of information about tornadoes that you guys should have here. You will get a weather warning. So in the upper right hand corner, you'll have your weather as you're used to having. When it's getting close to the tornado coming, you'll see a tornado icon kind of faded in the background, and then it will slowly work to be solid. When the tornado actually starts, it'll be the weather listed up there. So then you'll know the tornado is somewhere on the map and to be ready for it. They do take a while to get across the map if you have the game set to regular speed. They are tied to the in-game speed, not regular real-life speed. So if you speed up game time, the tornado will move across the map a lot faster. So just be aware of that. Now, if you have your game set like 5 or 15 times, it does move across faster, but it's not like crazy fast or anything like that at that speed. 1 times is fairly slow, and it will take probably half a day for it to get across the map or something like that. So it'll take a few hours in real life time, most likely, for it to get across the map if you're not speeding up time or have time sped up. So just do what you got to do and hope for the best. If you speed time up too fast, the damage will actually be a lot less on your crops and things like that because the tornado can't process it as it goes through. So it doesn't actually end up damaging as much. So if you want to save your crops a little bit, I guess you can speed up time. But anyhow, that's all we know about twisters and tornadoes, and I think that's probably all the information we're going to get before release. But there you guys go. If you guys enjoyed, please drop a like down below. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button up on the screen to join the Farmer Cop channel and turn your notification bell so you don't miss any future videos I may post. This has been Farmer Cop. Thank you guys for coming and for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.